Up here above it all, it gets pretty quiet. Just me, the wind, and the sound of the city breathing down below. It's my job to watch over it. But to do that, you gotta understand what it means to be vulnerable. You gotta understand what it means to get hurt. So I've been thinking a lot about it lately. Pain. We all feel it, right? That sharp sting, that long, dull ache. And we spend most of our lives trying to run from it. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if pain isn't the enemy we think it is? Let's get into it. Look, let's just be real for a second. In my line of work, I have let's call it a very close relationship with pain. I mean, from a rough landing on a rooftop to getting thrown through a wall by some guy with way too many arms, it's kind of a daily thing. And all that got me really curious. What is pain? Like, really? What's the science behind the ouch? All right, first thing you gotta know, and this might sound a little crazy, is that pain is a good thing. Seriously. It's not a flaw in your design, it's one of the most important features you've got. Think of it like a super advanced built-in alarm system, and its one and only job is to protect you. Now, the official science-y name for this is nociceptive pain. That's just a fancy way of talking about the normal protective pain you feel when you stub your toe or touch a hot stove. It's your body literally screaming, "Hey, pay attention, something over here is getting damaged." It's not a bug, man. It's a feature. So if it's an alarm system, who's on the front lines? How does your body even know that you've been hurt in the first place? Well, let's meet the microscopic first responders, your own personal crew of detectives. These little guys are called nociceptors. They're these specialized nerve cells or neurons that are always on the lookout for anything that could be harmful. And what's really wild is that they're not some big, complicated structure. They're basically just raw, exposed nerve endings, waiting in your tissues to sense danger. So simple, but so effective. And when I say they're on the front lines, I mean they are everywhere. Think of your body as this whole city. These nociceptors are the alarm sensors installed on every block in every building. They're in your skin, deep inside your muscles, all around your joints, and even protecting your internal organs. It's a citywide surveillance network, and it's all about keeping you safe. Okay, so one of those little sensors has been tripped. An alarm is going off. What happens then? Well, that signal has to travel from the scene of the crime all the way up to headquarters, your brain. And to do that, it hops on this amazing high-speed biological information superhighway. Now, this highway has two main lanes. First up, you've got the A-delta fibers. Think of these as the express lane. They've got a little bit of insulation around them, so the signal travels super fast. This is your first pain, that immediate, sharp youch that makes you pull your hand back from a hot pan before you even think about it. And then you have the C fibers. They're kind of like the scenic route. No insulation, so the signal moves a lot slower. This is your second pain, that dull, throbbing ache that sets in after the initial shock. And you can actually see that 1-2 punch happen. That first crazy sharp spike, that's the A-delta fibers screaming danger at the top of their lungs. Then you see that second, slower, wider wave. That's the C fibers coming in behind to remind you, hey, you're injured here. Maybe take it easy and give this a chance to heal. It's an absolutely brilliant system. You get the instant alert and then a long-term reminder. So we know who the detectives are, and we know about the highways they use to send their reports. But what are they actually detecting? What's the thing that flips the switch and sends that first signal racing off to the brain? Well, it turns out an injury isn't just a physical event. It's also a really messy chemical one. See, when your cells get damaged, they burst open and just release this whole cocktail of chemicals into the area. Scientists have a great name for it, the inflammatory soup. It's a mix of all kinds of stuff, prostaglandins, serotonin, histamine, and this chemical flood is what actually activates those nociceptors. It's also the reason an injury gets all red and swollen and tender to the touch. It's the soup. Now, here's where it gets even cooler. A lot of those C fibers, the ones that carry that slow, aching pain signal, they aren't specialists. They're what scientists call polymodal. That means they're the ultimate utility players of your nervous system. They can be triggered by way more than just one type of threat. These multi-talented sensors can respond to all sorts of things. They can feel intense mechanical pressure, like getting hit. They can also respond to extreme temperature changes, both hot and cold. And, as we just saw, they totally respond to that chemical inflammatory soup when cells get damaged. They're basically ready for anything. And speaking of temperature, get this. The specific receptors for it are just wild. The one that detects painful, searing heat is called TRPV1.
And it's the exact same receptor that gets activated by capsaicin, the chemical that makes chili peppers hot. That's why hot sauce literally feels hot. The TRPM8 receptor, which detects cold, also triggered by menthol. And TRPA1, which senses biting cold, also gets set off by the chemicals in wasabi and cinnamon. Your nervous system is basically a flavor detector.
Okay, so the signal gets sent. The message is flying up the information superhighway. But here's the most important part of this whole story. That electrical signal, it isn't pain. Not yet. It's just data. The actual feeling of pain only happens once that data gets all the way to central command. So the signal travels from the injury, up the nerves, and hits this critical relay station, the spinal cord. From there, it gets shot up to the big boss, the brain. And your brain takes all of these raw signals, the fast ones, the slow ones, the chemical ones, the thermal ones, and it starts processing all of it. A guy who knows what he's talking about, Professor Andrew Dilley, says the brain has to decode these signals. And that's the perfect word for it. It's like your brain is a DJ. It's getting all these different tracks sent to it from the body. The DJ is the one who decides which track to play, how loud to play it, and what the overall vibe is going to be. Your brain does the exact same thing with pain signals. So here's the big takeaway, the most crucial point of all. Pain is not just a raw signal shooting up from your tissues. It's a complex experience, a perception that your brain actually builds. It uses those signals, yeah, but it also mixes in your emotions, your memories, and even what you're focused on at the moment. It's the brain's final interpretation of all the data. And that, well, that leaves us with a pretty huge, pretty powerful question. If pain is an experience that the brain creates, if your brain is the DJ mixing the tracks, what does that mean for controlling it? How can we learn to walk into the booth and maybe turn down the volume or even change the song entirely? Something to think about next time you're out there facing the world. Now, if you'll excuse me, my city is calling. Stay safe out there.